Good evening, friends. I wish this were a better evening, and I have a lot of things to share with you tonight. The first thing I have to tell you is we're still in a lot of danger, and although the fires have not been going on at the rate they've been, if you have a police radio and you tuned in police broadcasts, you know there's an awful lot going in. A tremendous amount of lootings, there's small arms fire, and there are some very ugly prospects still on the way. So this curfew could go for a long time. And the important thing to understand is the situation is different than you may actually realize. Let me explain something to you. The police are spending their time in the area of the difficulty, which means they're spread out thinly over the rest of the city. And because of this, there's a lot of opportunistic damage being done where the police is slower to respond. Yesterday afternoon, I was coming back with my 85-year-old mother and my wife from the market, and we brought all of our bags into the back door, and I had lugged in a couple of bags of charcoal and had forgot to close the door, and I turned around to see two tall black men armed with a gun stepping in and immediately throwing me to the ground, sticking the gun to my head and demanding my car keys. I mean, I said, don't shoot me, you can have the car, you can have anything you want, just don't hurt me. And I realized that the car keys were in the house and I didn't have them with me. It was a rental car because my wife's car is in the garage. You take it, do whatever you want with it, but go. And I couldn't get him to believe that, and he started pummeling me and wrestling with me in the ground. There I am, wrestling with a man with a automatic weapon to my head on the ground. And for a moment, he was moving the weapon, so I grabbed the hand with the weapon. I was pushing it away, fully realizing the danger in which I stood, but he was totally out of control. I don't know whether he was on drugs or what, but he was acting very strange. And when he saw that he was having difficulty containing me, I work out, I'm quite strong, he called for help from the other person, and I realized I could not get control of the weapon in time. So immediately I thought, I have to let this other person beat me and immediately become completely passive and give him victory. The other guy came over and he started kicking me in the ribs and punching me in the chest, and he delivered a roundhouse blow to my face, so I feigned being knocked out. And then the alarm went off in the house, and the guy was taking a look at me with the gun, and I thought very quickly, and I feigned a heart attack, gasped, rolled my eyes up in the head, and just went to the pavement as if I had died suddenly of a cardiac arrest. The guy took a look. I could see out of a corner of an eye, and he just ran, figuring, you know, why put a bullet in that person who's already dead and make it a murder charge, okay? I ran in the house to find the door smashed in. My 85-year-old mother was in the kitchen, not bewildered, but furious. They had heard 3 shots before, which I didn't hear, and my wife and mother thought I had been shot. My housekeeper was in a closet in hysterics. We were upstairs calling, the alarm was off, and in 4 minutes, the West Tech arrived, but I was on the phone trying to get the LAPD, okay? On the phone calling LAPD, and I said, I'm Dr. Viscott, I'm at such and such an address, please send out the... And the woman kept on saying, why are you calling for Dr. Viscott? I said, lady, I am Dr. Viscott. She said, oh, you're Dr. Viscott, like she was going to ask me a question about her kid or something. And finally, you know, they put me through, and West Tech called that they were in the house with arms drawn. So I came out, we looked around, they went through the premises. My neighbors out in the street got a fix of this whole thing, and maybe they got a tag on these people. My neighbors. I live in a very well-to-do neighborhood. We're all successful, hard-working people. My neighbor behind me is a businessman. He's black. Next to him is a businessman who's Jewish. On the other side behind me is a Hispanic couple who are an older couple, but they've done very, very well. To my other side, right next to me, is a Korean gentleman. Across the street from him is an Armenian gentleman, another Korean gentleman, and directly across from us is another black family who had 9 restaurants in the ghetto area and had lost 8 of them. So we're all affected by this. This is in a better part of town. Let me tell you something. We're all in this now. This is all, there's no sense of containment. We are all on one vessel traveling through space. This is our situation. And there's no way we can get out of this until we accept that this is our own problem for all of us. This is not going to be something we're going to fix up with a bandage. There are a lot of things going on now that are very confusing to us. You see people stepping in and out of the community, brandishing power, trying to use the situation to their political advantage, to build up whatever power base they have. None of those things are going to work. What we need to do is we need to restructure a great deal of our society. You know, if Jesse Jackson's comment that there are more young black men in prison than in university, I say make the prisons into universities, and no one can get out until you can read and write and have taken courses, believe it or not, in music appreciation and art appreciation. Let them feel what the cultural advantage is. All the kids in these areas should be in Head Start. We should build playgrounds. We should have an enormous investment of education. 40 kids in a class, who are we kidding? We cannot afford our military situation that has developed over the years. We have to start making the people come first. And we have to have justice reforms. What happened here was a tragedy of the first water because there's a thing in the law called res ipse loquitur. It means the thing stands for itself. You go to have an operation to have your right leg amputated, and the doctor amputates the left leg. And when they show you to the jury, your attorney says, the thing stands for itself, and it's based on that. Well, we all saw the Rodney King beatings, and the thing stood for itself, except we no longer had a situation in justice that worked that way because it was moved to a different venue. And we had feelings that somehow or other justice had been cheated. But this is the way it's felt for years among these people. You cannot take away people's rights without taking away a sense of their humanity. We have to fix it all. We have to do it in a way that's critically important. But I must tell you something critically. Listen, let my close call with death be your instruction. It is very dangerous out there. It's much more dangerous than you know. You're not getting all the story. Listen to a police radio. But stay off the streets. Check around you before you get into your cars. Protect yourself. Come on. I want you to be around. I'm glad I'm here. I am here, huh?
You are here. We're glad. I'm certainly glad that you're safe and that your family is safe and no one was harmed.
Well, my ribs feel pretty shaky this morning, but...
Other than being a little bruised up, you're alive, and that's good. Okay, we've got a lot of calls that are dealing with the situation right now.
Up?
We're going to go with Dale. He's on line A, and he has a 3-year-old son who is traumatized by the truck driver beating.
Dale.
Hi, Dr. Viscott.
Can you speak up, please, so I can hear you?
Yeah, how are you doing today, Doctor?
Good. How are you, Dale?
Real good. My son saw the beating of the gentleman that was pulled out of the truck.
He's how old is your son?
He's 3. And ever since he's seen that, he just comes up to me and tells me that someone's going to pull him out of the car and kill him. And I try to explain to him that nothing's going to hurt him, but he doesn't want to believe me. And it's hard when he sees things around him and how the media just traumatized it all. You know, like when we turned the station, it was on another station. It was everywhere. He just doesn't know what to do and how to deal with it.
Well, first of all, he's too young to see this. And what happens when you look at television and you become an eyewitness to this thing, you become an eyewitness in a way that is clearer than in any other situation. The news coverage now is so incredibly complete. I mean, they're there, you turn from channel to channel, and a child sees this organization. Mostly what a child does is the child looks at your face for the clues and how it should react. Is this safe? Daddy looks scared. Mommy looks scared. People are frightened. What you do is you try to keep the kid away from the visual stimulus because the kid is taking stuff in. And what you do is you isolate that child. Now, I know that's very easy to say if you're out of the district, but if you're in the district, can you imagine what other people are going through? What does the kid ask?
He asked me, he goes, Daddy, you know, like we were driving around today, and he goes, well, Dad, someone's going to pull me out of the car and kill me. And I go, what made you think of that? And he goes, well, someone's going to kill me. I said,
Well,
don't.
no, wait. You asked a question to which you already knew the answer.
Right.
So you didn't respond to the question.
Well, how would
The question
you
he asked was someone was going to pull him out of the car, and you say, you saw someone get pulled out of the car. Wasn't that terrible? I mean, he's already seen it. Let him talk about it. You have to be able to talk about the pain that you suffer. And if he is part of that, and he knows it's real because there was something. This isn't television. It's life, and kids can tell that there's something going on that is not being staged. So you have to say that happened, that was awful, and don't show him anymore. The other thing is, why are you driving around with him?
Well, we wanted to get out of the house. It was just, the news. I just wanted to get him away from all that.
Then shut it off.
Yeah.
Is it on every minute you're in the house?
Well, basically, yeah.
All right, then shut it off and let him get away with it. See, if you shut it off in the house, he won't be there. Play Mr. Rogers. He's still on. There are still television things going on that are of a kid's interest. Let him see that there's still a world out there. What a child imagines when he turns channels is that this is what the world has become. You have some perspective what it was like last Thursday. For a child, each day is a large percentage of his life, and he says, so much of my life is filled with this terror and horribleness. Cut it out. Don't let the kid see it. If you want to get the kid out, take him to a park, take him to some place, get in the car and go up the coast, away from it. Or play with the kid in the yard. Let him see that things are normal. Do normal things with the kid. Don't watch any more of this television with him.
Well, thank you very much.
Does this help?
Mayberry?
I hope this helps.
Well, it has. Thank you very much.
Okay. The point is, my friends, is that we're all eyewitnesses to something that is so horrible that we don't even grasp the perspective of it. In good old-fashioned American style, what we do is we look at it and we try to give you an instant analysis of what's going on before we have even grasped what it's about. Everyone's now talking about cleaning up and going into these areas and sweeping, cleaning, all well and good. But the fact of the matter is, it's not all well and good right now, and we're only partially out of it. And the tension. You can feel it and cut it with a knife. We don't know what's happening yet. And make things as normal as possible, but maybe you're watching too much television. Anyhow, stay safe. We'll be right back. David Viscott, with you in troubled times. What do we have?
Okay, we have Keisha. She's on line B, and she's from a racially mixed family, and she has some fears.
Keisha.
Yes, good morning, Dr. Viscott.
How old are you, Keisha?
I'm 27.
And tell me what's wrong.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that you're all right, and I'm glad to hear that your family's doing fine. And
Thank you.
the main problem is there's two major concerns. The first is with my sister, who's in a racially mixed family. I'm black. My sister's husband is white. And the major concern is I'm afraid of what might happen to them. Being in a mixed family, they were coming to pick up their daughter, and they were warned by police not to head into the area that they were heading into, and things like that. I'm just, you go out to the grocery stores, anywhere you go, you can tell that there's tension between the races. It's quiet in the stores. They don't say anything to you, but it's a look that they give you. They're afraid to cause any problem. They're very polite, and it's frightening.
About 2 hours before the incident that I mentioned happened, I said, gee, I'm down on gas. I might as well fill up the car. And I went into a filling station, and I'm filling up. And before I filled up, I had to cut in. And I really, oh my goodness, I'm cutting in front of a gentleman, obviously Hispanic. I said, I have to cut. And he says, no, it's okay, it's okay. I said, all right. So we all ended up in the line together, and there's a black lady in front of me, a Chinese woman in front of her. It was a Korean station. and a little Jewish lady in front of just in front of the person, and we're all there, absolutely stone cold, right? And I said, "Gee, it looks like a nice day," and
Yeah.
someone smiled, and I said, "This is a very abnormal situation. I bet we're all afraid of each other."
Right.
All of a sudden, we all started laughing, and realizing that what we were really dealing with was this enormous fear that something's changed. It's like we don't know how to be, and that's what's wrong. Because most of us, if we just act normally, we're fine. It's that when we're told how to act, or we're taken out of the context, and that's why this situation is so awful. I mean, because you can't be yourself and make that work.
Right.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
It's. I'm going about everyday life as if, well, it's no, I can't say that I'm going about it as if nothing's happened because it's.
Do you live in that area or outside?
No, I'm pretty much outside the area, but you'll see stores here and there that have been destroyed, or you're affected by the fact that you can't go into the grocery store if it's too late. You're rushed off by guards or police. You see them up and down the streets, and it's just frightening because I was optimistic about these things changing, about racially mixed couples, about violence between racial couples or races, period. And then this happens, and it's almost like it feels almost as if someone's died in your family.
Well, it feels like we've lost all the belief in ourselves.
Right, and it's kind of. I think about it.
But that has to be an illusion, doesn't it? I mean.
Well, an illusion of what?
Well, that things have changed. Aren't they really the same?
That's what I've said. I don't think things have changed much since the 50s. It's just, I mean, people think that it's gotten a lot better. It hasn't gotten much better. I don't think it's gotten more than 2% better than it has been years and years ago. It's just that people are trying to deal with it a lot better. They try to pretend like it's not there, but it's still there. And it's frightening. And I feel now that, it's going to be so that people think it's getting better and they're starting to clean up, but it's still there. It's almost like hiding a festering sore under a Band-Aid or something. It's still there. It's not going to. I feel it's going to get so much worse that it's going to be that you can't go into that area unless you're one color. You can't go into another area. It's getting so that I don't know what to do. And I have a 4-year-old daughter she's kind of frightened about the fact that is the fire is going to come here, what's going to happen, and then she sees that this person's black, this person's white. She feels that because she's black, she's bad, she's ugly, something's wrong with her. And, she sees them, and that's okay, but this is wrong. And, I don't know.
I mean, what do you do when she says something like that?
Well, she has, I have a niece who's mixed, and she feels that she's pretty because she's of a lighter complexion. And I tell her, well, Mommy loves you. I love the way that you are. She says, but I don't like my skin. I said, why don't you like your skin? She said, because it's ugly. It's dark. I don't like it. It's ugly. And anytime I see this on television, or I see...
Do you ever get some pictures of some of those absolutely gorgeous knockout models to show her what beautiful is?
I show her, what I do is, I show her she has dolls that are black, she has dolls that are white. I show her things on television with black couples. This is pretty, this is pretty, this is, I show her things that she wouldn't normally feel that was beautiful, I would show her. And she seemed like she's accepting it, but then she doesn't really. She's like, yeah, but I don't want that one. I don't like that doll. And, I don't know how to handle this. I don't know what to do.
Well, I think the first thing you tell her is this. You tell her that a person is beautiful who likes themselves and smiles and feels confident. And you can have a person who could be the most beautiful looking person on paper who walks around with a frown or thinks they're ugly, and they're an ugly looking person when you see them. Whereas if you love yourself and you just have a smile of confidence about you, that's what beautiful is. And you teach her that the beautiful part of her is the part of her that shines from her.
Yeah.
It's the part of her, It's not lighter, it's light itself. It's the light of love. And you have to teach her that that's the strongest thing she has. And when she shows that, her color isn't important. No one's is. What's important is how she lightens up the lives of those she touches by her inner love.
Yeah.
And that's what she has to understand. That's what we all have to understand. Did you ever see a person who smiled who wasn't beautiful?
No.
Well, that's what you teach. Tough times for everyone. I'm sorry you're going through this.
Yeah, it's hard, but I'm trying. I turn her away from the television, or I explain to her that this is happening because people are angry, but things are getting better, or. But she's a very bright child, and it's hard with her because she understands a lot more than you think someone would at that age. She feels that, where are we going to go shopping now? Everything is burned up. This is ridiculous. I don't know where we're going to go shopping anymore.
And it's the truth, and we all feel that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Some of it doesn't make sense, you know.
it really doesn't.
It
but
really doesn't.
hopefully things will get better in the passing days.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
It's affecting everybody. The children are the saddest of all, because those impressions shape a lifetime. And when children don't have a sense of perspective on the times, their ability to develop hope is diminished. Who's next?
Okay, we have Anne. She's on line 10, and she is outraged with the president.
Ann.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. What's up?
Okay. First of all, I listened to the President Bush speech. I did not agree with it. He did not address the situation. And I'm really tired of politicians skirting around the issues. Let's get to the issue. We know we have a problem here. Let's deal with it. Honestly, deal with it.
What did you think the president said that was really off?
Well, first of all, he never really said anything. He said, oh, we seen the beating, and that was terrible. This is something he should have said from the beginning, because he knew, everybody knew once we saw the beating on television that this was going to lead to chaos. We knew, I knew before when they went to Simi Valley that they were not going to be convicted. There was no way any black in this country could think that these police officers were going to be convicted.
That's, I think that's obvious. We all knew that.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying.
But the point is, the feeling I had was, they've got these guys cold. It's just it'll release so much tension to have done this. The thing that absolutely blew me away, forget all the other counts, and let's just talk about one count. Powell was found not guilty of falsifying a police report. He was found not guilty of falsifying a report. How could that be?
Because as far as
but how could that be? It was, even Chief Gates said that was a problem. You know what I'm saying?
But what you fail to realize, and what I look at is, yes, this is something that has been going on a long time. This is not, it was just caught on video this time. But it's been going on. We've been complaining about this for years. No one has ever truly addressed it. No one has ever said, it shouldn't have gotten to that point. This is what I'm saying.
Well, we have to change. There's no question. And for this to be unheeded would be the worst thing of all. We're all in this, and there's no way that you can contain an unfairness to any group, because it spreads throughout all society, and there's no one resting easily tonight, I can tell you.
I understand that. Also, I'm not only angry at President Bush, I am angry at the black leaders.
Why?
Okay, I'm angry at them because while they were sitting in church praying, the ministers are our black leaders now, okay? While they were praying, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with praying, but they should have been on the street at the moment that verdict came out, before the verdict came out, really.
Why do you suppose they weren't?
I don't understand. I want somebody to address it. Nobody has said why they were not on the street. They should have been there. They knew there was racial tension there when the Korean lady shot the 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl. They knew. They should have been there, and that's what I'm saying. They should have been there. I should have been there. I felt like I should have been there. I don't live in Los Angeles. I felt so bad. All I could do was cry. That's all I could do. Because I said, I'm not doing what I should have done. We all should have been there and given support.
Well, I think we all felt helpless with this, but the point is, we are not helpless. There's a great deal we can do. There's an enormous amount of wealth in this country, and there's an enormous amount of justice that just needs to be corrected. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have many, many more black people on the and other minorities on the police force. There's no reason why we shouldn't take the problem from the very, very ground roots and give people something to hope for and a life worth risking for, so that people have something to lose. People who don't have anything to lose are dangerous people. And it doesn't take much to make any person feel that way. We'll be right back. Well, it's a different kind of program tonight, but maybe there are still some elements like the way things used to be. But, you know, everybody still goes through life with their problems. Let me tell you some advice in getting through these tough times. Do things that are normal, and do them with a little more care. I mean, tomorrow I'm going to go out and buy some tomato plants and stick them in. I'll be very careful that I space them right and take time with them and say, I'm putting in my tomato plants, isn't that a good thing? You know what I'm saying? Do normal things. Normal things are good to do. Who's next?
Okay, we have Karen. She's on line C, and she has a black boyfriend, and things have changed since the violence.
Karen?
Hi.
Hi.
The last couple of days, I've been incredibly shaken up by all of this.
You're how old now?
I'm 18.
Okay.
And we've been watching TV together, and my parents can't stand him. They've never even met him, and some of the things that he's when we were watching TV, we were watching The Truck Driver, and I was shocked. I was upset. I couldn't believe it. And he, you know, the things that were coming out of his mouth. I mean, he wasn't actually for what was going on, but at the same time, it was just it's as though he expected everything, and I was trying to be there for him. I was trying to cover. Actually, I wasn't saying anything for the longest time because I didn't know what to say, and when I would try and voice my opinion about what was going on, it was as though I should totally shut up. That nothing I said, you know, I didn't know anything about how he felt. He told me I could never understand what he has been through. You know, I think I'm pretty educated about everything that's gone on. I know a lot of black people. This might sound weird, but every guy I've ever gone out with has been black. And you know, everything that I was saying, he just made me feel it's like he was trapping me in my own whiteness. You know, the end result was I don't understand. I'm not black, and unless you're black, you can't understand what's going on. And we had sex the other night, and he was really rough. And you know, I love him. He's loved me. He loves me. We've always talked about having a family, and now I think I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. I'm afraid if I say anything, it's the wrong thing.
Why don't you just say the truth, that you no longer feel that he's remembering that he loves you. He's only remembering that you're white.
It's more than that. I mean, I'm trying to just let things subside. Things are so heated now.
I know, but he's treating you like a group, not like a person.
No, he tells me that I'm different, and he tells me that, but but at the same time, he blames a lot of what my parents say on me. My parents tell me that I'm going through some kind of identity crisis and that I have low self-esteem for going out with him. And, he's
That's what he accuses you of fueling?
of me fueling it.
Yeah.
No, he just he knows I don't feel that way, but at the same time,
But he makes a statement about it.
he makes a statement about me,
Yeah.
about that I actually am starting to believe what my parents think. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Is that, I'm asking a question, is that what you're saying?
No, absolutely not. I mean, he knows. I actually consider myself more educated than he does about everything that's going on. I really do. I mean, no, I have never been pulled over and treated like.
I understand, but what's happened in this situation is all of a sudden he has stopped treating you like a person. He's treating you.
Because he's so wrapped in.
I understand what he's going through. We both do. But you have to remind him that you are the person he loves.
I've told him that.
And that you are also carrying his baby. Tell him that. And that you have plans for a family. And all of a sudden that's changed because of this. Why?
I've told him that.
But no, you haven't told him you're pregnant.
No.
So we'll start with that. And I would start with that.
I'm scared because the other night, I couldn't believe the way, when we were together, I couldn't believe the way that he was. It was as though he was taking everything out on me.
Tell him that.
I did.
And tell him you're
that.
pregnant. And tell him the truth. If he has to know what's going on. And you say, look, I don't understand why you're treating me this way. And I have not done anything different. You're feeling different, and you're feeling angry, and you're feeling ignited.
Dr. David.
Wait, listen. You say, if you're feeling that way, share it. But don't make me the object of that. If you don't feel I can understand, instruct me. I can never become you.
You don't understand. He has told me he loves me. He told me that I'm different. The only thing that he says, and I've heard this out of his friends, I've heard this out of his mouth, everything is us and them. Us and them. They say it in my company as though I'm not white and as though I'm, suddenly, or that I'm not in the room. And I've heard just us and them, us and them. These people have to understand. How are we going to understand if they won't let us understand? If the end result is this is a black thing, you won't understand. You can't possibly understand how we're feeling or what we're going through. I've been trying to be there for him. I've even kept silent.
Well, the point is, you tell him, all right, I give you that. I can't understand. But what does that mean? Let's assume that I can't understand, and take him to his ground. Listen to me. Just hear me. I know you want to answer, and I know you want to complain, but hear me. Say, all right, I'm going to agree. I don't understand, and I can never understand, okay? Also, you don't understand what it is to be white, and maybe you'll never understand what it's to be white. I don't understand what it is to be a man, you tell him, and you say, you'll never understand what it is to be a woman. Fine. Does that mean we can't love each other? Does that mean that we shouldn't be together? That's all I want to know. If the answer is it's something we work on, then let's work on it and stop this attitude and this attacking. If you cannot change it, we don't belong together. And you have to put it down just like that, because there's no point in going on with a situation in which you're going to be used as a scapegoat in a relationship. A relationship is a place between equals. And if you're being put down because your race is not the other person's race, then you're never going to be comfortable there. And also, he needs to know that you're carrying his baby. Who's next?
Okay, we have Sarah. She's on line A, and she wants to know how to handle her husband's return from prison.
Oh. Sarah.
David.
Hi, Sarah. Can you speak up?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I hear you very well. How old are you, Sarah?
39.
Your husband's getting out of prison?
Yes.
What was he in for?
Receiving stolen property.
Okay. And?
And I'm apprehensive of his homecoming
When is he getting out?
tomorrow.
And why are you apprehensive?
Because there was a lot of wounds that we didn't heal before he left. We had
Name-
no time.
Let me hear them.
The major one, of course, I told Arlene, is he's interested in cross-dressing.
Interested in cross-dressing, or he's a cross-dresser?
I don't know how you'd... I don't know for a fact that he's gone out and done it without me present. He did dress for me one night after we talked about it, and I've always considered myself to be an open-minded person. But
And when you saw him dressed up as a woman,
I freaked out.
why?
It scared me, and I don't
What
know why.
scared you about it?
I just don't know why. I want my husband.
Yeah, but what did he look like?
He looked like his sister. And I can't stand his sister. I'm really shook up right now because it scares me to death to have to confront that. I don't want to confront. I would rather run away from it or push it under the rug. But
Well, what are you afraid in confronting it? I mean, it can only go one of two ways. It can be accepted or rejected, right?
right,
Okay.
I'm afraid I'm going to lose him. I'm afraid that he'll be gay.
Well, that's not related. Cross-dressers usually aren't gay.
And so I've heard. But I'll have to admit, though, that the first night I met him, I said to my sister, "Does he look gay to you?"
Do you mean feminine?
Uh-huh. He has some feminine attributes that, and I asked him about it early on in the relationship. He said, "Absolutely not. He's not gay." And he said, "You know how well we make love. I couldn't possibly think of doing that with a man."
Look, the first thing that you have to understand, Sarah, it is what you fear about expressing to him that will stand in the way of you ever resolving the relationship, okay?
Right.
You have to be willing to confront everything in a relationship. It's either a place of honesty or it's a dishonest relationship. And in a dishonest relationship, you're always afraid to speak the truth. You're always afraid to say what you really feel. And if that's true, you can never fully express your love. So the relationship's survival depends upon you being willing to speak your truth. The more honest a relationship, the closer the truth about your feelings is expressed to the event that caused those feelings. You have had feelings for a long time. He's been locked up for what, a year?
About 9 months.
9 months. So there's a whole bunch of issues that have been just stirring inside of you for 9 months, boiling over. They're way out of proportion. You've been trying to hold them in place and trying to conceal them. Well, if he had been around and in the house and had not been in prison, and you had not talked to him about those feelings for 9 months, you'd still be at the breaking point. You have to tell him what you're feeling, and you have to risk losing him in order to get the relationship you want. The truth is, you may not have the relationship you want. He may not be what you want at this point. But if you don't risk it, you don't have the opportunity of discovering that your fear is wrong. What if he is willing to give it up? What if he has made some changes in prison?
He is willing to give it up.
But-
That's what concerns me, is if he's not pushing it aside and not confronting it. I want him to confront it.
He's not going to bring it up. Look, it's your problem. Your feelings about him are your problem. You have to bring your feelings about him up into the light so that they can be discussed. If you hide your feelings about him, you have to hide your love as well. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. A mixture of calls tonight, I think. Who's next?
Okay, we've got Jean. She's on line 12, and the man she loves is gay, but she still wants him sexually.
Jean?
Hi, David.
Hi, Jean.
How are you?
I'm fine, Jean.
I have a different problem tonight. I've been knowing this gentleman for about 14, 15 months. I met him, and we became very good friends. We got a little closer and became, started going out. We shared a few intimate moments, nothing sexually in bed. But he always would tell me about a girlfriend that he had, that nothing could be for him and me because of this girlfriend. He had been with this girl for about 7 years. They had lived together. They had shared a lot of their lives together, but they had never gotten married. But I kept asking him about this girl, and he kept telling me that they're going to get married, they're going to get married. But we had a few chances to sleep in the same bed, and nothing would happen. And I began seeing that all of his friends were gay, and I questioned him once upon a time and asked him if he was gay, and he told me no. But I'll confess to you a story that I had an affair with a man when I was 16 years old, and I went with him for a year. But I'm over that now. Well, as time goes on, I'm falling more in love with this guy, but nothing's happening. And finally one day, after about 9 months, 10 months knowing him, I just broke down and asked him, are you gay? What's going on? Because nothing's happening between me and you, and I love you, and you're not returning my feelings, and we've grown close. And he says, well, I asked him, I said, are you bisexual? And he said, no, but I'm gay.
Well,
and
you know what's remarkable about this story? Let me tell you. Come here. You watching?
Yes, I'm watching.
You know what's remarkable about the story?
No, tell me.
Is how long you took to get to this punchline.
Well, the thing
Wait,
is,
stop,
okay.
stop. Everybody on this side of the planet knows he's gay.
But me.
But you. Which means that it's not that you don't know that's the problem. The problem is that you don't want to know.
Until you're in a situation like this,
Yeah, but I know. But it's not the
situation. It's so difficult.
Wait a second. The situation you're in is partially the situation you're in and partially your neediness that brings you into that situation. Okay? Do you accept that?
To a degree, not
I know
fully.
I know I have a problem with you, okay? Let's just talk about the degree to which I'm right about.
Okay.
Okay. Then let's dispense with his side of the equation, okay?
Okay.
Because his side of the equation is a constant. He's not going to tell you the truth. Your side of the equation is that there's a part of you that's desperate. Do you buy that?
Tell me what you mean by desperate.
What do I mean by desperate? Oh, let's see. It's got to be this. He's got to be the one. That I have to.
No, I've been married before. I was married for 16 years. It's not like that.
Wait a second. That doesn't make you immune. There's a part of you that won't accept the fact that he's gay.
I won't disagree there, but
all right, that's all I want to talk about. That part. That's the only part that's of problematic concern to us. Tell me about the part of you that doesn't want to accept that he's gay.
Because he tells me that...
Forget what he tells you. Tell me what you tell you.
Because the feeling that he gives me is of warmth, love, and he tells...
Translation.
Pardon?
Translation. This is a feeling of warmth and love that you have not had for a man in a long time.
You could say that.
I have just said it. All right? Oh, look, I'm not going to beat on your head, and I don't want to rain on your parade. All I want you to do is see this, that it's the part of you that desperately wants that love and warmth in your life that won't look at the other truth. That's what keeps you from looking. This man is a friend.
That's what he tells me.
And that's what he is, and there's no more to it.
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
What do you mean you understand what I'm saying?
I just have one question. I have one question.
Okay, but do you accept that it's the truth?
every day I'm beginning to accept it as the truth more and more.
Good. Now, what's the one question?
Okay, he tells me that he loves the security and warmth of a woman,
I
and
believe
he
that's-
wants to have a family
I believe
and
that's
children.
true. I believe it's all true.
But he loves the sexuality of a man.
I believe that's true.
So is he fully gay? Is he 100% gay if this is what he likes?
He is no. A lot. I have friends who are so thoroughly gay who could never have a feel, and it's impossible for them to even conceptualize having a feeling for a woman of a sexual nature. But they love women, and they'd love to have a family, and they'd love to have kids, but they just can't see doing that in order to have that. And yet they're struck with the sense of loss they have over not having the family and playing with kids and of their own, and they adopt yours, and they're terrific friends, and they're the loveliest people in the world, but they're not going to marry and stay with you, generally speaking. Some do, but generally they don't. Now, some people call these non-gay homosexuals who can be treated. That remains to be seen. I mean, we had a gentleman call last week who classified himself that way, and you identified with that, right?
Well, yes, I do.
But
because
he
you're
had been
born
absent,
like this.
huh?
He believes he was born this way. He had these feelings at
But a lot
6 years old.
I have friends who knew they were gay when they were 4.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of components to the gay identity. Some people. I don't know why people get mad if you use the word lifestyle, because it's a life orientation, but it's also there's also a lifestyle. There's a genetic component. We now think there's an anatomical component. It's very deep. It's a real entity, and it's a variant of the tree of normality.
It's a very difficult situation because.
Not if you accept the truth.
It's not that I haven't accepted the truth. I do. I do accept the truth more and more every day. And he's leaving. He's moving out of state to get his life together. And I told him, I said, I'm here. It's very difficult to fall in love with somebody and know that they love you, but in a different way, and have this type of lifestyle. It's been a very difficult situation for me.
He may not be right for you.
I know, but it's hard to let go.
But it's not giving you pleasure. It's giving you pain. The warmth and the love that you get aren't worth the pain and suffering that you're enduring. And that's the difference. We can love a lot of people sometimes, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're working out for us. Conflicts, huh?
I don't think you gave her the answer she wanted, though.
No, but
No.
then again, the truth isn't what a lot of people want.
Right. Okay, let's go to Kathleen. She's on line B, and she's anxious about the somewhat of a police state that we have right now.
Kathleen?
Dr. Viscott.
Hi, how old are you, Kathleen?
Oh, well, like I was telling your people, I feel like I'm suffering from episodes of paranoia, I guess, on an Orwellian level. We woke up this morning, and we haven't had a lot of action here on the beach, thank God, but we stumbled down for coffee this morning. We were met by M16s. They had closed off the boardwalk here on the beach, and some of the neighbors, the local residents, just talking to each other, like, why?
What beach is this?
Venice. And I understand it. That 250,000 people a day can walk by, and so there were, after the events of the last few days, but my problem is being, there's just this betrayal, and it's hard to live in society. The LAPD showed up because we neighbors were at the end of our walk street, and it was very early this morning, and one neighbor said to the officer, well, why? And it was very hateful, and next thing we knew, he had him cuffed and in the back of the car, and if it wasn't for a few people, I think they would have taken him. And later we asked, why that? And he said that we citizens didn't understand an order. And I said, well, maybe they should put out some guidelines to us, what felony-prone positions are and what an order is, because like a kid would, this guy just went, why?
Well, what is the order?
Well, the order was to get back off of, there's another street, and it was literally back onto your streets, And like I said, we haven't experienced anything down here. We were residents here. We weren't tourists, and this was our front yard. And it was, like I say, I'm having episodes, I think, of paranoia. I've never been paranoid before, I don't think, but things like the media all being in place above that intersection, all of them were there, but no police. And there's rumor that the police set the first fires, and when you don't trust that and you wake up to a military occupation, which is what it seemed to us here, it's just I don't know. I can't even explain. I don't even know what this feeling is. I don't know how to explain it, and it's causing depression and anxiety, and just a black cloud. Dr. Viscott, could I ask you what even you at the beginning of the show said you weren't receiving the information, and I don't know what you meant by that. See,
Well, I think if you listen to the police radio, you get a much more in-depth understanding of what's going on. I think they're responding to a condition that they see as volatile, dangerous, and explosive still.
Yes.
And there are many more reports coming in than ever meet the press and that we ever talk about. And I'm not sure why they're not all reported. Oh, they can't be because there's too many of them. And you've seen very few things repeated except for a few sensational things because there's been a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
And
but as a citizen, as a human being, I feel that this disinformation, and we have to live in society, and when we're having I have friends globally, and I've had friends who've been in occupied areas, and I've never experienced it personally myself. I don't.
Well,
I'm
we
sure
don't know.
I'm not unique, but
We certainly deserve ground rules. We certainly deserve to have a mayor come out and say things clearly. I don't think it's been as clear and as demarcated as it should be. I think if there are rules, they should be stated on television and why, with full open news conferences. Are we in a state? Is this a military
Dr. Viscott,
situation?
am I paranoid?
Not yet. All these are real things stimulated by real events, and you're seeing. But what's happening is you're taking them a little too personally.
Okay.
Don't take them personally. You're seeing the times. And what you should do is get as far away from that conflict area, to get as far away as from the edge of conflict as possible.
So in other words, we just retire and stay home and
No, have a 4-hour brunch tomorrow.
not on the beach. What do you suggest?
Well, you know the places out there as well as I do.
Well, they're closed, Dr. Viscott.
Well,
it's really quite a scene down
have
there.
a couple of friends over.
Yeah, we do.
Have one person bring over the champagne, someone else bringing
It's a
over
little
the
hard to deter the conversations these days, to anything like
I know, but the point is you can do something in a party-like atmosphere if you just isolate yourself from it a little. You have to do that. In the ghettos in Vilnius, where people were being swept off to the camps practically on a daily basis, they had a symphony orchestra and a choral society, and they put on Shakespeare.
Seriously?
Yes. And that's not happening to us, but you have to do normal things. With television, we telescope events into much deeper understanding than we really understand. I mean, we focus on one area. We hear people who are alarmists. We see people coming in who have the ability to inflame people. And we see people taking advantage of the situation.
Yes,
Who
sir.
said what? It's being misreported. The main thing is don't be part of that problem. Take some time. It's a good time to read a book.
Well, I am. I am doing
It's
those
also a
things.
good time
Trying
to...
to find a little comic relief as well.
Yeah, maybe...
I could say, Dr. Viscott, I don't mind the protect and to serve thing, but after what we experienced this morning,
I know,
I
but
do mind being
I
treated
know,
like a king.
I know, but
Okay.
but don't take it personally. Just
Okay.
get out of the way of it. Look, I came into the studio tonight to see my people. My cameramen have been out on the street. My directors have been in edit bays. Everybody's been working overtime. They look awful, and I've been beaten up. You know what I mean?
You look pretty good, actually.
Hey, I'm a good-looking guy, but this has been a rough day. I'm saying, we're all a little threadbare. Come on, we need a little humor in it. We need to know we're going to get through with it, and don't
So what's
push.
your vision? How long do you think, the residents in this area
Don't
will
push
take?
to the edge of it. Do you know, an amazing thing happened after my beating. I said, well, I'm going to stick this car in the garage. So I got into the front seat of the car, all right? And I all this has happened. And I mean, I've had a gun to my head. It's been absolutely crazed. I turned the ignition on, and on comes Murray Pariah playing a duet, Schubert, the A major duet for piano, one of my very favorite things. And for a moment, I just took a deep breath and I go, this is the world, this is the sensation, this is the feeling state of my reality. Cherish it. In the middle of blood coming out of...
Dr. Viscott, that's beautiful. You and Leo, we need you.
We have to stay in that place.
Yeah.
We have to know that I'm not angry at anybody. I mean,
Neither am I.
all right, and I'm not going to let anybody provoke my anger. I love myself. I love my family. I'm going to be very careful, and I'm not going to let anyone make me hate anybody. Don't you let anyone make you hate anyone. This is your planet. We are each other's people, and we have to take care of ourselves and everyone else. Let's see if we can do it. We'll be right back.